What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I know how much you guys like the breakdowns that I always post, the trade breakdowns. So today I'm going to post another trade breakdown for you guys. But other than posting trade breakdowns, I really want to start posting other forms of content for you guys, because I feel like trade breakdowns get a little bit too repetitive. You can never get repetitive with value, but if you guys want the most value, then make sure you guys join the free Telegram, because I'm posting breakdowns in there literally weekly before each week starts. So make sure you guys join the free Telegram. A link will be down in the description for that. But other than that, guys, I'm kind of a little bit upset with this video that I even have to record this portion, because I recorded everything about the withdrawal, obviously, as I was withdrawing, but the audio did not actually capture. As you guys can see here, the audio, there is no audio. Sadly, OBS did not record my microphone. That's not even something that I noticed when I was editing this video. I ended up noticing it when I was posting the trade breakdown video for the free Telegram room, and my OBS platform had the microphone deactivated, so it didn't record the audio. But I basically showed you guys like the entire withdrawal process. Here, as you guys can see, I'm transferring the $107,000 that I withdrew from the trading account into USDT, where I'm sending it to my crypto exchange. As you guys already know, you can't withdraw from a demo account, and for those people that are skeptical out there, I even show you the money actually leaving the brokerage and hitting my crypto exchange, where I then sell it for USD and then obviously cash it out to my bank account, where I realize those gains. So now when it comes to this position here, as you guys can see, I made a total of about $34,000 on this trade, where I had an $107,500 withdrawal. So I'm going to pop up the Hero FX brokerage page, which if you guys want to trade with Hero FX, I definitely highly recommend them. I have a lot of capital with them, and if I ever decide to switch brokers, of course, I'll let you guys know. But Hero FX is the broker that I'm currently trading with right now. So anyways, going on to the rest of the video, right, I'm going to press apply filters so you guys can obviously see this is the time and the dates that I processed the withdrawal. Obviously, this is not a screenshot. I'm going to show you guys this again. I'm going to press paste here. I'm going to apply filters. As you guys can see here, I did a withdrawal, which my withdrawal was approved in USDT ERC20, which is how I withdraw, and I withdrew $107,500. So obviously, I'm not going to show all of the money that I deposit into my trading account. I don't feel like I have to do that, but I will show you guys the deposit did land here. I'm gonna also refresh this screen as well, so you guys know there's no such thing as inspect element on the LamboRaul YouTube channel. Right, as you guys can see, on the 9th, which is the same exact day I processed this withdrawal, I ended up getting a deposit for USDT for $106,000, and obviously, like, there's fees involved when you withdraw from the brokerage. I don't know how much they charge in fees, but obviously I didn't get my entire amount of $107,500, right? Which obviously we have the withdrawal over here as well, $107,500, right? So after I received the USDT, I did sell the USDT for USD, which is why there's spend there USD. I received US dollars for $106,448 is what I received. And then obviously I withdrew from my Kraken account. I withdrew the entire balance that I had in my Kraken account for $105,000 in total. So I lost about like $2,500 in fees, which is okay, because again, like I made 105 grand, so it's not really much compared to the $105,000 that I withdrew. But again, I'm showing you guys this for transparency purposes, to show you guys all of the possibilities in the markets, and obviously to show you guys that everything we do here in the LamboRaul YouTube channel is legitimate, and I do this literally all the time. So the live video of me doing the withdrawal, since I also recorded with the camera at the summit when the money actually hit my crypto wallet, will be posted on my Instagram, so make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. Last but not least, everybody, the War Room applications are finally now live. For those of you guys who don't know what the War Room is, the War Room is my live trading room where you can come trade with me live and literally interact and talk with me. And imagine, like, this would be such an amazing opportunity for so many different traders that want to level up, where you essentially can come into the Zoom meeting where we host the War Room sessions, obviously the live trading sessions. You can come into the Zoom and pick my brain about not just anything, but even trade with me. And imagine you know, you're going to be trading with somebody that literally makes 6 figures from trading in the span of a day. So for those of you guys that are going to apply to the war room, a few key things to know is we're only going to allow 150 people to join the war room. So that obviously the chat is not going crazy. Along with that being said, open enrollment will not be a thing. We're only going to let people in periodically. Most likely quarterly is when we're going to be letting people into the war room. And last but not least, you actually do have to apply and get accepted to be even able to enroll in the war room. And we did this because last time the war room was completely public, anybody could join, and a ton of people literally did not take it serious at all. They were asking the most ridiculous questions, and I really want people who are going to lock in into the war room and look to grow their trading and look to evolve as a trader, which is why we have this process. So for those of you guys that want to trade live with me, you want to trade the NASDAQ or the S&P 500 with me on Zoom, make sure you guys do check out the link down in the description where you will find the application. So with that, let's get right into the video. All right, everybody, so I'm gonna try and give you guys the most valuable breakdown as possible while also keeping it somewhat short because I don't want this video to be too long. So make sure you guys do please pay attention. So when it comes to trading any asset class, it doesn't matter if you're trading crypto, stocks, or Forex, you always want to start down on your higher time frames, such as a daily time frame, the 4-hour time frame, and then slowly work your way down. This approach is called top-down analysis. So on your higher time frames, such as the daily time frames, the criteria are basically essentially what I'm going to be looking for is going to be my key levels and where price action is currently trading at that specific day, or if there's a key level around where price action is trading. So we're going to be paying attention to this trading day right here, not Friday or not today. So when it came down to price action actually rejecting 14.65, price came all the way back down to 14.3 and ended up closing above 14.3. Notice on this trading day, price action tried to break below 14.3, but ended up closing right above, which is a huge sign for me. Now, price action didn't close below 14.3 because in that specific case, I would have immediately said, okay, well, we have room to run probably back down to the 14.224s, maybe even the 14.260s. So for sure, as long as price action doesn't break below these 2 points, I mean, I really wouldn't be looking to sell because the range ultimately isn't too large. Notice price action ended up coming down into roughly halfway, 14.240, but then completely bounced and rejected. So one thing for sure, as long as price action could have continued to maintain under 14.3, I would have looked for sells. But moving on into the session and when I do my pre-market analysis, price action ended up completely breaking back above 14.3, which was a big sign for me we could potentially look for buys. We can see this on the 4-hour time frame. This is currently our 9 a.m. This is our market open candlestick. This was the pre-market open candlestick. So by the time the pre-market actually opened up, I'm going to go down to the hour time frame here so we can get as much detail as possible as to why I took these buys. Notice we have 14.3 support actually holding. Price action failed to hold previous support as newfound resistance and ended up trading back above, breaking above these highs and making new highs at 14.329. So with price action trading above 14.3 in situations like this, what I always tell the day trading institution students is wait for price action to pull back down into 14.3 and wait for that rejection before actually looking to take a possible long position, just simply because at that point in time what can happen is price action could easily start trading back under 14.3 and then that would completely change the setup. Buys will no longer be valid. We'd be looking for sells. So the first clue I'm going to be looking to buy is going to be this 1-hour candlestick here. We had a nice break above 14.3, which again, keep in mind is going to be our support range. Price action broke above that previous structure point. So we already have 3 confirmations here. Price broke above a previous structure point. Price ended up breaking back above 14.3. Price rejected and held 14.3 as support 2 times already, and then we broke above and continued to make new highs. Keep in mind this is the 8 a.m. candle, so realistically we have 5 already confluences here. Once we have 5 confluences, we already know that this is going to be a high probability setup, and again, that's all in the same time frame that we're looking at here. All I'm doing is focusing on high probability setups and putting money behind those specific setups. So with all of the reasons that I just basically listed, that gave me all the confidence to buy. Now, before actually placing that buy order and placing my stop loss, I have to ask myself, well, if I'm wrong, where are my stop losses going to go? If I'm right, where are my take profits going to go? I was looking at this price action chart and I saw, well, okay, if price bounces off of 14.3, we could easily come back up into the 14.4s, which is going to be another key level here. It's going to be another round whole number, psychological level, 14.4. If I just kind of look at my cursor and you guys pause the screen, you can see all the support and the resistance 14.4 has actually held as. And if price breaks 14.4, we can go to 14.45, then possibly 14.500, so on and so forth. So I know even if I enter right now in the pre-market at 8 a.m., which was never going to happen, and I put my stops under 14.3, I would still have a great risk to reward. So when going down to a 5-minute time frame, which is basically where I took these entries, we see that initial break back above. We see the initial break above the market structure highs that I previously made. So we can see we have a nice impulse to the upside, fake out to the downside, then a nice break back above, so on and so forth. Now, one thing that I want you guys to keep in mind is this is the market open candlestick here. I never trade the first 5 minutes of the market open candlestick. I'll always trade anything after that. So 936 plus is free game for me. So this candlestick was a no trade candlestick here. We did see price attempt to actually make new highs, but what it definitely just looks like is a point where it was just grabbing liquidity to the downside. That we saw a nice move to the upside, because you have to imagine the amount of people that were buying all throughout this area, and as price was taking out these highs, those people were buying and immediately got stopped out. This is basically why I never trade the market open. There's times where it saves me and there's times where I miss out on money, but you know what? It is what it is. There's ample opportunity throughout the entire day. So I knew I had two options to basically look for here when taking this specific setup. The first setup would have been waiting for price to bounce off of 14.3, which I was waiting for when price action closed with this candlestick. I thought price would come all the way back down to 14.3, look for a possible bounce, stack in on my buys, and then look to take buys up into 14.4 and then 14.445. But price action ended up breaking back above this area here. So after the first 5 minutes of the day, I ended up stacking on my first two positions pretty much as price was breaking these highs all around this range here. Price action ended up coming up and making new highs. Now, one thing I want you guys to keep in mind is my stop loss was placed under this low right here. So if my entries were along this area right here, my stops were under these lows, and then my first target was actually 14.4 for a 1.6 risk to reward ratio. Now that's not what I was targeting, but that was just my first take profit. My first take profit was actually going to be 14.45, which is going to be the resistance range I was paying attention to. Again, guys, when it comes to your stop loss placements, you have to ask yourself, hey, you know what? If price action does end up hitting my stop loss, is the trade still valid? If yes, then that is an invalid stop loss placement. If no, then the trade is no longer valid. If your stop loss gets hit, then that is a valid stop loss placement. So I knew if price action broke under these lows here after closing the way it did all the way up here, that most likely I was wrong on that first initial entry. I want to cut my loser short, and I'll wait for a bounce off of 14.3 if price action bounces off of 14.3. Then price action ended up rallying and giving me a nice pullback, and as price action on the 1 minute time frame, go down to the 1 minute time frame. As price action was giving me that nice pullback, it ended up making new highs on the day all the way up here at 14,380, pulled all the way back down to this structure point and ended up rejecting, where I added more positions with the same stop loss all the way down here. This is basically where I added more position. I added another position over here. Price action came all the way back down, gave me this nice variation pattern, and I added yet another position. Now I did move my stop loss up. When this 5 minute candlestick closed with this strength, I knew that, hey, if price action breaks this low, now down that we have a new high on the day, we have a new low on the day, and price action is forming and looking like it's going up to make a new high on the day. If price action breaks this low at 14,325, we could easily see a drop back down to 14,300, where again, same situation. I'll cut my losers short and I'll look to get back in on a possible bounce at 14,300, and price action ended up just basically flying from there all the way to my first targets. Now this trade was very hard for me to actually hold, just simply because I was looking at it a little bit easier for me to hold technically, but I was looking at it every now and then. And the hardest decision I made was when price action ended up coming to 14.4. There was a few rejections, and this candlestick was definitely a scary candlestick. So when price action tapped into 14.4, I ended up moving my stop loss to the low of this specific candlestick. So all my stops are here. I would have maybe secured like $25,000 on this position, but again, I continued to actually let it run all the way up into 14.45, which is fantastic. Now when price action ended up coming up and breaking above 14.45 and closing strong here, I ended up moving my stop loss to TP1, which again, keep in mind, is 14.4. I decided to swing the position all the way until price action hit 14.5, where I continued to actually hold the position. Now at this point in time, I thought to myself, okay, I can completely close or wait and see if price action is going to give me another retest or a possible break through 14, or possible break and go all the way up into 14,538. Now the bad part about this trade is that, again, I was married to having like that huge trading day. I was married to having and breaking my PR of having like a $250,000 day, because my PR right now, my personal record is like $220,000 so far. So I knew if I could make like 250, that would be absolutely fantastic, and it would be amazing for me when I go and I put the down payment on the house that I'm looking for, because it's a pretty expensive home. So, you know, I had all of this in my mind, and, you know, trying to secure a home for my family, and, you know, that got me super greedy in the market. So I was like, you know what? Price action right now is at a key level. We're entering lunchtime where volume is going to slow down, and most likely there's going to be take profiting at 14.5. We could probably see a pullback back down into 14.45. But you know what? I'm going to leave my stop losses here at 14,400 flat, which luckily, as you could see, I never got stopped out. Now, when price action ended up coming back into this 14.5 range, I said, okay, perfect. I'm now going to move my stop loss up into the second take profit I had over here, which the best situation that I should have done would have been moving my second TP all the way over here, especially after price hit my third TP. But I ended up lucking out really well on that specific position, and price ended up coming all the way back up to 14.5. Once I saw price action break above it and then make new highs on top of the previous highs, I said, okay, perfect. I'm going to throw my stop loss way more aggressively now, because again, one thing you guys have to understand is probabilities change as price action continues to give you new data. So if price action were to reject this area again, I mean, we can come probably even all the way back down to here. Definitely would not want to be in the position if price action were to break this structure point. But even then, like, do I really want to give all of this profit plus all of this profit back? That was a hard no for me. So I ended up trailing my stop loss under 14,400. Now, it was, market had already been closed. It opened back up. We had a new daily candlestick actually printing, and price was consolidating fairly heavily. It was very hard for me to watch all of price action just pull back steeper and steeper and steeper. And then it finally bounced off of support. And by the time I know it, it's like 2, 3 in the morning, and price action is finally starting to go back up. But I was already mentally so drained because I wasn't used to holding a position for literally like throughout the entire day. Like a few hours is like, okay, I could do that very well, but throughout the entire day, I mean, just imagine the swings in the P&L, seeing 70K, then seeing 30K, then seeing 150K, then seeing 130K, then seeing again like another 70K. It was very difficult to see all of that unrealized gain disappear. So I ended up closing the position once price ended up coming back here. You said, you know what? I don't care what price action does for me anymore. I've got a home I got to purchase soon. I'm securing this 150K because it'll only help me out in the long run. And I secured that position and withdrew $107,000. Things I could have potentially done better is, again, stuck to my original plan, and even moved my stop loss and gone out of the position a little bit earlier. I wouldn't have made as much money. So I got to find a way, if I really do want to be swinging these positions. I mean, I would have easily hit like a $500,000 day, or, and maybe that's kind of exaggerating it, but let's call it, I would have easily made like a $300,000 day. Because if a move from basically here all the way to here, I would have easily had a $300,000 day if I made 130K from this point to this point right here. So I hope you guys did enjoy the breakdown. And again, make sure you guys join the free Telegram, because again, there's just a ton of value. There's breakdowns being posted there all the time that give you guys updates, etc., on the free Telegram. For those of you guys who want to join the Roar Room, when it does release, it's going to be the first time we release it. We're going to close enrollment after 150 people do join. Make sure you guys do apply with the link down in the description. I hope you guys did find this video beneficial and valuable to you guys. Other than that, I will talk to you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.